what can I say about it? It's weird. It's weird. That's about it. So I just picked up a bag of oats at the feed store. This whole bag was 40 pounds for like 13 bucks or something. They're pretty clean actually. Not as dirty as the barley that you buy. And I'm going to be making 100% oat malt beer. And it's going to be a lager. So this first batch was 10 pounds. Just weighed that out and then gave it a good wash. Rinsed it a couple times in cold water. Okay, it appears to be way cleaner than any feed barley I bought. No dirt, there's nothing nasty in there. That was just after one rinse. Alright, after 4 days, I've got a 95% germination rate. You can see the 5 little grains here that haven't germinated yet. But at day 3, I was at 86%. So they may still germinate. It's a possibility. But 95% germination rate is fantastic. That's what you'd expect from a really good quality malting barley. And so I'm really happy with that. So I ended up making 3 batches of this malt. The first one I overshot and ended up with 47% moisture content. The second one I also overshot. I only gave it 2 8-hour steeps with an 8-hour rest in between, and I still ended up with 44% moisture content. So the third batch I steeped for just 11 hours, just 1 steep, and that gave me a 40% moisture content. So germination rates, the first batch had 62%, the second batch had 78%, and the third batch had an 81.5%. So the germination rates went higher as the moisture contents went lower. I think the next time I'm going to try maybe a 36% moisture content and see if it goes even higher than that. Okay, really disappointed with my results so far. But I've decided to stop the germination process and allow it to wither. I'm getting some long ones, some overgrown ones, so that's a sure sign that it's time to start drying it out. Unfortunately, the germination really wasn't that great. It was very uneven, and it could be due to the mathematical error that I made in this batch. And what happened was I ended up over steeping it. I steeped it to 47%, and I was aiming for like 40 to 42. It was really soggy, really saturated for the first few days of germination. The husk just wouldn't dry out. It was just so wet. So that may have stalled the germination process. Because I didn't start seeing it start to chit until like day 2. So I'm going to try it again, another batch. Okay, it's day 5.5 for batch number 2. I think I may have waited just a day too long because I've started to notice some of these grains getting a little dark, meaning there's some mold starting to develop on there. If you take a look at these, you'll see the ends getting dark, and that's mold in there. So perhaps I could have germinated them a little bit cooler. I've had them at 16 degrees Celsius. The germination average was worked out to about 78-80% from the samples I took. So I'm going to go ahead and kiln this. Now these oats, this is batch number 3, much cleaner looking, a higher germination rate, about 80-82%, and they only had the 11-hour steep. So I'm going to kiln these, even though they're a half a day behind the other batch, just to make sure that they don't develop any mold. They look. So what's happening now is the rollers aren't catching the grains, they're just slipping past. So what I've done is just attach the handle and I'm pushing down on top just to squeeze the grains through. If I had the drill, I was kind of afraid of getting my hand stuck in there. The grind doesn't look too good, but actually all the grains have actually been squashed and the insides are quite powdery. You got these whole husks that are intact, but it is actually crushed. Okay, my pH is somewhere between 5.2 and 5.3. I gotta admit, it's got a weird smell to it. A little bit like corn husks, maybe a little musty. It's not very pleasant, that's for sure. So this might be a total bust. Okay, it's been 2.5 hours. Just gonna do an iodine test. And that's not bad. I think it's close enough. Okay, didn't have a problem sparging at all. It came through really fast. It was cloudy pretty much the entire time, except maybe the very end. It cleared up a little bit. Got the pre-boil gravity at 10.5 bricks. So there it is. Not that pretty, but the final gravity was 1.05. Okay, let me show you what we got. It's only been carbonating for a couple of days, but it's pretty good. Now it's cloudy, which was to be expected, so quite a bit of carbonation considering the amount of time. Tastes like green corn husks, and it's a good thing I put some citra hops in there because it kind of masks that flavor at first, at least, and then it kind of, the corn husk flavor kind of dominates after a while. Percentage is 5.5, and the original gravity was 1.050, and the final gravity is very dry at 1.0064. I don't know if it's quite drinkable. It may take some getting used to. It's not a pleasant flavor. My wife thinks it just tastes like beer, but what can I say about it? It's weird. It's weird. That's about it.